Hey there, YouTuber friends. There's Crypto Bit Rod, and they got Ron over there on the other side.
Hello.
All right, we're here. We're going to make a little announcement here, kind of switch gears here. We've had quite a few people ask us about food storage, and so we, especially Ron and I, are really into this food storage, and so we thought we'd talk a little bit about it. Now we're going to start with doing about 3 series. And if it works well, then we're going to go ahead and add to it. And if your response is good. Now, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch this. If it's not your cup of tea, don't be drinking it in. But for all those of you who do like it, please join us with this, and we'll have some fun doing it.
Yeah, how we're going to do that is on the thumbnail, the actual video that you see, the we call it a thumbnail, but it's the actual video title. We're going to list on there that this is part of the food storage series, and then we're going to number each of those videos so you can watch them sequentially, and we're going to kind of go through a systematic system of getting a foundation built on food storage and then telling you how to do it and where to do it and all that. So it should be pretty good information.
It'll be fun too.
Yeah, anything I do with you is fun, Rod.
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's so true.
So listen, we got to start a foundation on this, and this first video or two, we're not going to get into the potatoes and gravy and the meat of it. We're just going to kind of tell you, like this one, we're going to kind of talk to you about things to consider while preparing or getting a food program together.
And why it's important.
Yeah, now let's talk about that for a minute now, Rod.
Okay.
You know, people, and some of the comments ask, well, why food? I mean, you're into cryptocurrency. What's the deal with food?
It goes right hand in hand with it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, in today's world, it really does. There's so many things out there going on in the world that we might not have any control over. I mean, what if we have an economic collapse, or if the banks close down, or we go to war with Syria or North Korea? There's just a lot of variables that, and even better than that, Rod, go to any disaster we've had in the last 10 or 20 years.
Absolutely.
Katrina, Sandy, all these natural disasters. Matter of fact, I got a few. Here's a couple articles here. It seems like anytime we have a natural disaster, the stores get wiped out. I mean,
yeah.
You've seen that.
It's a snowstorm. You know, if you live back east and over here where we're living at, also on the Gulf Coast, look at all the hurricanes they have down there, tornado disasters. You know, it's amazing how quick the food leaves the shelves in a matter of days.
And you know, whether it be candles, anything to help prepare for the electricity being out. And so the question I ask all the time is, well, why don't you have some of that at home already? I mean, you buy insurance for everything. You buy insurance in case you have a car wreck, in case you have medical problems, in case your house catches on fire. So why wouldn't you put some food and some preps in your home for an emergency?
Why not?
Yeah, it makes sense. And then another thing that happens is, you got looting. I mean, you know, if there's a flood and they make all the residents leave, you know, it's something you got to prepare for too.
Absolutely.
And then you got the price gouging. You know, gas tripling in price. You've seen that in Corpus.
I remember that part. I remember when I was only paying 25 cents, and after I got back from Nam, then all of a sudden in '73, man, prices went up to $1 a gallon, like to die.
Was it a disaster associated with that?
No, just a shortage.
Oh, yeah. So
gas shortage.
It's something you ought to prepare for. And it's something I've prepared for most of my life, and Rod has too. You know, ever since I married his sister. I mean, this has been part of our lives all the time. I mean, if you become unemployed, Man, what if you had 3 months worth of food stocked up? I mean, wouldn't that be a great blessing?
Absolutely.
It just doesn't take much effort. So listen, what we're going to do is we're just like I said, we're going to we got some worksheets that we'll put down in the description box if we can figure out, Rod, how to put those in there where they can print them. I still haven't got that figured out, but these worksheets will kind of go through what we've talked about in this video. So the first one's going to be on things that you should consider before storing food or while storing food. So we're going to pull the first one up here. You can see that, can't you, Rod?
I can.
So we're just going to kind of go over these items real quick. This won't be a real long video, I don't think. But things to consider in a food storage program. Rod, what about that first one? Prioritizing assets.
Assets. You want to be sure and try to get your food up. Now, you can do all this at the same time. But, you know, and when you go to the grocery store, if you like oatmeal, or if you like green beans or corn, go to one of those groceries that have the sales on case price, you know, and buy an extra case and put it up. Hell, it'll last 10 years, so you might as well keep it. You know, just have something extra. You don't have to buy a whole year's supply at one time. That'll kill you. But you put that in, and then you might want to make sure and get your precious metals involved, then your crypto, and then goes on from there. You got to prepare for other things, but we'll talk about that later.
But you know, you're exactly right. I mean, if you're only into crypto right now and you don't have any food up and a little bit of silver, you got to prioritize that. Food is just as important as crypto and gold and silver at this point in the world today.
Right.
And another thing you got to consider in these programs is organization. You should look at your budget. How much can we spend every month? What are our goals? What are we trying to accomplish with this? And start a planning guide. You actually got to put something in. Rod, I was taught years ago that a goal not written is only a wish.
Right. That's very good.
Yeah. So you got to get a planning guide together and write these things down and get organized.
Yeah. And on this next one where it says store what you eat and eat what you store. Now, that is a very good thing to remember because, you know, I remember hearing these Vietnam vets that were in captivity during the war for 5 or 6 years. They were given food by the North Vietnamese, not very much, but some of them did not like the food. Did you know they got sick and died because they would not eat it? And those that did stayed alive. They came home. So it does not matter if you're a man, full grown, or a kid, you have to be able to want to eat what you store. It's imperative.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if you think about children too,
that's right.
You know how picky children are.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying they'll starve to death. You would think sooner or later they would eat, but that's not always the case.
No.
So you got to store things that are going to be
that they like.
That you like to eat.
That everyone likes in the family. Right.
Then we're going to talk about, you got to consider quantity, quality.
Yeah, that's important.
You got to consider all the people. You got to consider shelf life.
Oh, yeah. Shelf life is very, very important.
Get familiar with how expiration codes work. And you can Google all that, and it'll tell you how to read the codes on canned goods and other things at the grocery store. So you're familiar how long that item's going to last.
You know, something else too, though, Ron. You know, they put short expiration dates on canned goods. To me, they do, because I think canned goods, if they're not rusty or anything, can last a lot longer than the expiration date, and they're still good.
You can Google that.
You get familiar on how to check canned goods, like, you know, meats and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can Google how long do expiration codes really last, something like that, and you'd be surprised. It's 10 years past the code on that can of green beans or whatever it is. Yeah, it's all part of their system of rotation and all.
Yes, it is.
they last a lot longer.
They do.
Water to cook with. You got to consider it. I got to put water up. You got to have fuel to heat that food item.
Right.
Then things to consider is where you're going to store it.
That's
How you're going to put it up. And then what about this one? Loose ships sink ships. Have you ever heard of that saying, Rod?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a famous World War II slogan.
Yeah.
Loose lips, not ships, but loose lips.
Oh,
Sink ships.
Oh,
You got
misprint. Sorry.
lips. Sink.
That's right. And basically what we're referring to there is you got to keep your mouth shut. I mean, if you're the only one on your neighborhood or your block that has food storage and you've told all your neighbors and there's a major catastrophe, guess whose door they're going to be knocking on?
Yeah.
And we're not saying don't help anybody, but
No.
we're just saying it's better to have the option of not telling or not helping or helping. But if you've already blabbed it out there, it's too late. And then you got to set some guidelines. What are you going to do with family and friends? You know, if you've only got enough food put up for your family, you've got to predetermine, in my book, you know, how all that's going to work. Because if you wait till the last second, it might cause catastrophe within your own home.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if I've worked...
Yeah, to kind of teach them how to do it. And if not, store enough for everybody and for your own immediate family. But
No,
you know,
you're right.
With me, if someone asks me for some food, I don't mind giving it to them. But boy, they better not be trying to take it from me.
That's right. Which goes to our last one, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But then a couple other, you got to consider your children, just like we talked about earlier. You know, what will they eat? And what about your pets? They eat too.
That's
And the
right.
last one Rod was just referring to is you've got to protect what's yours. And it depends on the severity of the catastrophe or the
Right.
problem.
And how long it's going to last. And
Yeah, if there's roaming thugs around looking for food, yeah, you'll need some protection for sure.
Yeah.
So consider this stuff. Print this guide off. It's in the description box. This will take us into the second video. And like I say, we're going to do 3 right away. The third one's where we're going to start getting into some meat and potatoes.
well, there's another reason why we like to do this is because, you know, you can look at me and tell me I like to eat. Well, I have to store stuff.
That goes for both of us, Rod. If we can get all 10 or 12 of these videos made on this series, there'll be a lot of information in here. We've been working on this stuff for years, so stick with us. Please comment. We want to hear the pros and cons, and if we need to add something or cover a certain thing that you're curious about, we've got to have the comments to know what you need.
If you like this, comment on it. We love to do this for you guys, but only if you're interested. And please let us know. Hey, thanks for watching.
Yep, we'll go on to number 2. Bye-bye.